Welcome back to the Untriggered Parenting Podcast with me, Paula Sampson Lawrence. My special guest on this week's show is Danielle Maynard. Danielle is a wellbeing leader for girls and the owner of the non-profit organisation Serenity For Girls. And today we discuss the importance of empowering young girls of this generation. Let's dive in. So welcome, Danielle, to this week's show. It's really lovely to meet you and to talk to you about all things empowering young girls. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Exciting.
Absolutely.
I love doing podcasts. So thank you. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today.
Of course. I would love for you to tell the listener just a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do.
Okay, so I'm from Birmingham, originally from Nottingham, and I have an 18-year-old daughter myself. Now, my background is I've always kind of worked in schools, administration work, reception work, etc. And then I decided that I wanted to go in to do some nursing. And so I went to do my nursing. I was what they call a mature student, so I did it a little bit late.
Yeah.
So I went to do my nursing, adult nursing, and then I decided that I wanted to work more with children and families. So then I ventured in to do my health visiting training, and then I worked as a health visitor. And then I've also worked with children in care. I've worked as a children in care nurse as well. And now I have my own little business working with young girls as well.
Excellent. So I would love to know what the inspiration behind what you do. What made you think, you know what, I would love to sort of help girls build their self-esteem and their resilience. What sort of led you down that path?
I think because when I was young, that was something that I struggled with, like my confidence and self-esteem. I was very quiet when I was young, very, very quiet. Now, that could have been because of a lot of other different things that had gone on in my life. Like my dad passed away when I was 8 years of age. Lots of things could have, made that happen. But yeah, I do remember I was just very quiet, didn't have that much confidence, had low self-esteem, a little bit of bullying at school as well, in secondary school. And also having a daughter of my own and seeing how she's had to adapt and develop. Also within my job as well, like being a health visitor, being amongst children and families. So with a health visitor, you're working with children 0 to 5. However, when I'm going into homes, I would see the older children there. So yeah, so I've always been around children and young people and just seeing the struggles that they have to go through at this age.
Yeah, I really resonated with what you said there, because I was very similar as a child. I was very sort of quiet, shy, and just really lacked confidence. And there didn't seem to be anybody who was specifically, I know, our parents, our mums, they do the best they can, but there wasn't anybody specifically telling me, hey, you're great, you're amazing, you can do so much. And I just wonder what impacts that would have had on me if I'd had that. So I've got 4 kids, actually, 2 boys, 2 girls. So with my 2 girls, the same as you, when I sort of saw them growing up and they get to that certain age, sort of 8, 9, 10, when they start the little bit of worry starts to creep in, a bit of comparison, a bit of trying to live up to something that's not quite themselves, trying to fit in. And I was immediately sort of triggered, for lack of a better word, because you think back to how you were at that age. You're like, you don't want them to go through it. And I was really thinking, how can I help them? How can I really support them through it? And so I completely resonate and agree with that. And like you said, we live in such different times now, So what would you say that young girls have to go through that's maybe different than when we were growing up?
Yeah, I think social media, that is massive now. Even as adults, it's hard for us sometimes with the social media. We can get sucked down a little rabbit hole and start comparing ourselves, because I have done it in the past. So imagine if we're going through that, then imagine the impact it's having on the young children as well. And
Yeah.
they're exposed to so much now, not even just with social media, just like with the things what are on television, like the celebrity culture, things like that. I mean, I think it was Love Island was on yesterday, and I had a little snippet. I don't really watch it, but I was watching it, and all the girls have got like long extensions hairs, white
Yeah.
teeth. They just don't look, like natural. And I think, these are what the
Hmm.
girls are seeing out there, thinking that this is the norm, this is the standard, this is what I need to look like, kind of thing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, so it's definitely there's a lot more things out there that girls are going to like compare themselves with and think that they're not
Mm.
enough or think they have to look a certain way.
Even I remember the other this is a months ago now. I was experimenting with TikTok and the filters. And there was one filter that gave me eyelashes, the most perfect lips, the most perfect skin complexion. And I was like, wow, look at how I look. And then when you take all that off, you kind of go, oh, this is my face.
Yeah,
you know? And part of
yeah,
you wants to be like, accept your face, but you're like, but look how I can look with that
look,
filter.
yeah,
And it's such a mind, it screws with your mind because it starts to make you think how you look, how your face is. It's just not good enough,
yeah,
which is such a dangerous programming for young girls who are already going through so many changes. So I would love
definitely.
to know in your workshops, which do you do different? Because what I do is I have different sort of themes in different workshops. So do you do the same thing? And is there a particular theme that you think has the most impact on the girls that come to the workshops?
Yeah, so very similar. So there's different like sessions, so like strengths and identity, body image, friendships, healthy relationships. So things that young girls might be struggling with. So
Mm-hmm.
they're broken down. One of the workshops that I did was body image, and that's a big one as well. And I remember
Yeah.
one of the girls, she was only, I think she was 8, and she was saying that, I think I'm too skinny.
Mm.
Yeah, and for a young girl to say that, that was quite hard to hear.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
probably hear the same, I'm too fat, and again, so body image is a big one as well. But yeah, definitely just different sessions zoning in on different areas what I think the
Mhm.
girls are most struggling with and the areas that they might need that little bit of support with.
Yeah. I've really found also that you mentioned the strengths one, that has a really big impact because at the beginning of the session, I don't know if you find the same, when you ask the girls what they're good at or what are their strengths, they sort of sometimes struggle to tell you. And then even if they do tell you, it's all about what they can do, you know. And so I can do this, I can draw and I can dance and I can sing and this, that, and the other, which is all great. It's great to have talent and things that you're good at, and then we try to get them to look at different strengths. So are you kind, are you compassionate, and these are strengths that are not really celebrated in the TikTok world.
Yeah,
It's more they celebrate the exterior sort of things, the things that you can do that in a way is sort of outside yourself. So how you are, the characteristics of your personality, that might not be a celebrator. So we really push that in the workshops to make the girls understand that it's not about just
what you
doing.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I think a lot of the girls never really thought about it that way before,
yeah.
so that always creates a big impact. And I'd love to know what you think about the friendships one, because the friendships one, we always have a lot of discussion in my workshops about the friendships, because at that age, I as bad as it sounds, it's like that's the beginning of toxic relationships with young girls. It sounds terrible, but it's the truth. I don't know how you feel about that, the things that they go through in their friendship groups. It's so much.
Yeah, and the thing is, to us and to everyone on the outside, it's not a big deal, but to the young
Hmm.
girls, it's very much a big deal and
Yeah.
have such an impact. I worked at this was a secondary school, and I was a
Hmm.
health and wellbeing officer, and it was for an all-girls school. And there were girls in there that were having a lot of friendship issues, and they were self-harming because of these friendship issues. So it can go really deep. And I think
Yeah.
just understanding that it may not be, big for us, but for them, it's a
Yeah.
big deal. So yeah, friendships is a very important topic as well. Just to show them, what it means to have a good friendship and what qualities you should have as being a friend and
Mm.
what qualities your friends should have as well in treating each other,
Yeah.
well. So yeah, it's definitely a big
Yeah,
topic,
it
friendships.
is. And I think that it's so normalized with girls, especially, to have that whole mean girl sort of relationship with your friends. And it's accepted and it's okay and it's just how it is. And it's hard to sort of break that whole thing of no, that's not how you should be treating each other. And someone who treats you like that is not your friend. But
Yeah,
this message is really reinforced in shows, in television. Even you mentioned Love Island. I'm sure there'll be bickering, but they're still sort of friends.
yeah,
And but they backstab and all that kind of stuff. But it's normal. That's just what girls do. And
yeah.
that's not what girls do, and that's not what girls or boys should be doing. I don't know why we sort of accept that as
Behavior.
normal.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
and that's
it's
why it's good to think. That's why it's good to, when you were saying about your strengths,
mhm,
like to look in not from the outside, but look at like the internal factors, the internal things, good qualities as well. So bring that out of them as well, so you can
mhm,
link in with the good qualities of a friendship and what to accept and what to not accept as well. So yeah,
mhm.
it's definitely a big topic.
I wanted to touch on something quickly, just as two Black women who are working in this space, because I have Black daughters, but I think it is an important aspect to consider. And even when we talked about body image and how that can be different when you're in a black and brown skin, things like the hair, that's a whole different conversation in black and brown skin. And you'll get girls, Black girls who might not love their natural hair, for instance. Like my mum relaxed my hair when I was very young, and I had relaxed hair for my whole adult life. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, my first daughter, I went natural because I said to myself, she's only ever gonna be natural if she sees me natural. And but she still will ask for, can I straighten my hair? And it's because of what they see, what they're surrounded by. How do we speak to, we want young girls to love themselves, but how do we speak specifically to young Black girls for
Yeah,
them to love themselves in a world that tells them that their features is not accepted?
because you're 100% right. We all will have all the girls will have their struggles and their insecurities, but I think as a Black girl, that we have our different
Yes,
insecurities.
another layer, isn't it,
Yeah, and
on top of
even
it?
it's not even as an adult, like I still have those insecurities with my hair. I relax my hair. My mum didn't actually want me to relax my hair. She didn't want me to relax
Ah,
my hair, but I did.
yeah,
And that's because again, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to have straight hair because that's what the image what we saw.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely a good topic like to zone in on.
Yeah, but I think that it's good that we're in this space because you wouldn't normally see that, that representation. And I think maybe Black mothers might say, you know what, let me send my child to that
This
because
one,
exactly, it's a good one to have that representation, to have that mentor, that role model to look up to who's really trying to inspire,
yeah.
my child. I would love to hear if there's any young girl that you've worked with who like a success story that you kind of think about and it makes you sort of smile.
So what I started to do was like do a little feedback card because I wasn't doing that before.
Hmm.
And I did like because I started the club last Saturday, so I put together a workbook, and in the workbook were questions like, what do you want to get out of this club?
Mm.
What would you like to learn? All these questions in there, just so I can tailor it to the girls because I want it to be their club.
Yeah,
And a lot of the girls in there were saying that they want to make friends, they want to become more confident. And
yeah.
when I looked at the feedback cards from the session, what I did, all the girls were saying, "Oh, I did make some friends. I made a new friends." And even in
Oh,
the session, I heard two girls, "Oh, have you got a mobile number?" And I was like, "Oh, that's so
oh,
cute. They want to exchange
that's it.
like
Yeah,
nice." Yeah. So for me, that's just knowing that,
yeah,
feel comfortable and
yeah,
they come in all like quiet and
yeah,
shy.
yeah, don't
Yeah.
they?
Then by the end of the session, they're like wanting to exchange
Yeah,
numbers and they're
yeah,
all chatty and
yeah.
so that's yeah.
That's really good. That's why, because I do a couple of online sessions, but I'm really passionate about having face to face and that peer to peer interaction. Because I think the girls need that, especially after COVID, which seems like a lifetime ago now. But I think it really helps them build that relationship and talking to people face to face. And I think that's really important. But I wanted to ask you, as a mum yourself, and to other mums who are listening, what are some of the things that we can do in the home to really empower our children, to speak life into them, to make them feel like they belong and they're accepted?
Yeah, so I think you touched on it at the beginning. Like when we was younger, we
Mm-hmm.
never got people telling us these things, like,
Mm,
you know, giving us that encouragement and saying, oh, you're doing really well, or this, you look really pretty. This is
mm,
not giving us some of the words that we want to hear sometimes.
yeah.
So I think sometimes children just want to hear that.
Mm,
So even things like doing affirmations with them, things like that, just
yeah.
simple things, and just giving them that acknowledgement and praise when they need it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just think about just and having conversations, because I don't really remember having that much that one-to-one conversations as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely just giving them that encouragement, allowing them to accept themselves, and yeah. So I think communication and just giving them that, you know, encouragement and
Yeah.
allow them to accept themselves.
I see this question always floating around on social media every now and again. And it's that whole thing of, if you could go back and speak to your younger self, your 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old self, what would you say to that little girl that you think would have helped you at that time?
Um, just to say, um, it's okay that you're quiet. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that's just you. Just be yourself. Like, that's just you. Yeah, because a lot of people used to always say that to me. Oh, is she okay? Oh, she's really quiet. Can she talk? Does she
Mm.
talk?
Ugh, I'm against violence, but I really want to slap people that do
Yeah,
that. Because my son, my eldest, very quiet kid when he was younger. And I'm like, just leave him be. He's all
yeah.
right.
It,
you know, stop trying to make it seem like something is wrong with how
oh,
somebody is. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? And I think that's so really is powerful. What you said is you all right. You know, you're okay. You don't have to change to fit in to make other people comfortable, really. And that's
That's
what I
it.
think what young people in general struggle with at like a certain age, where it's all about fitting in and making other people feel comfortable, even at the expense of your own comfort,
That's it. Yeah,
which is
100%.
very dangerous. But I would love to know, please tell us about your workshops and your business and your programs and how you work.
Yeah, so we all started with the individual workshops, but then I knew I wanted to do something on a regular basis.
Mm.
So that's when I applied for some funding from the National Lottery,
Oh,
which
amazing. Are you a
uh,
CIC then?
yes, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I,
Excellent.
I wasn't always a CIC. I didn't start off as a CIC.
Yeah.
Um, but then people were saying to me, what you're doing is actually, it ties in with what a
Yeah,
CIC
it's
does.
socially benefiting,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
So then I changed it over in October, I think it was. And then I decided that, okay, well, let's put a plan together to do like a club, like a project to do like a club. So the girls have got somewhere to come like every Saturday. Because when
Yeah.
I was younger, I used to go to Brownies and Girl Guide,
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
and I really liked it. And those places are still around, those
Mm-hmm.
organizations are still there, but I just wanted to do something different and put my own spin on it, and put my own touch
Mm.
on it as well.
And tell us about your social media. Where can we find out more about you and the work that you do?
So yeah, so I'm on Instagram, so Serenity for Girls, and
I love
then
that name, by the way. It's just a beautiful name. It really is.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it was all about peace and
Yeah.
yeah, calm and things. So yeah, Serenity for Girls on Instagram, and then the website is www.serenityforgirls.co.uk. Mostly on Instagram, and then it is
Yeah.
connected to Facebook
Yeah.
account as well. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and having a chat with me. I really love what you do. We do similar things. So I was like, I need to speak to you and connect. But yeah, I just want to say thank you also for all the work that you do for our young girls, because it's so needed. And the more people that we can get doing this is how we create change in the community. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.